Now on CoastTV News.
President pays his respects. The visit to Dover Air Force Base by Donald Trump for a dignified transfer ceremony of service members killed in the recent war with Iran.
Plus, long neck response boost. We look at the multi-million-dollar project to expand the Indian River Volunteer Fire Company.
School future scrutiny. How the Bryan Allen Stevenson Charter School will attempt to make their case tonight in Georgetown to continue operations.
It's a Monday and we're tracking fog on Delmarva this morning. We are in for a marvelous start to the week as our spring-like warmth continues. How high will the mercury rise? I'll have the answer ahead.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And it is Monday, March 9th, 2026. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for being up with us during our 6 o'clock hour.
Now, we are under a dense fog advisory this morning, and we have our Tyler Ridson at the wheel of the First Alert Weather Jeep. Now, this is an area in the Milton-Harbison area, Gravel Hill Road. It is still closed. This is between Sand Hill Road and Neptune Road. That's due to a crash. Grace, it was a crash that was reported by DelDOT just after midnight, and you're still seeing, I should say, the road closed because of this.
That's right, Matt, and you could see the patches of fog as Tyler was driving down this road. There's no word yet on what caused this accident or if it was related to this fog advisory, but as you were heading out this morning, even if you're in this area, be sure that you drive with caution and maybe give yourself a few extra minutes to get to your destination.
Yeah, we have that low-lying fog going on. A number of our back roads this morning. Wycomico County schools are operating under a 90-minute delay.
And we're turning now to First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, we are waking up to another foggy morning along the coast.
That we are with Grace. Good morning, Grace and Matt. And we're seeing that fog here in Ocean View here. Over the last hour, really developed 46 degrees, dew point 45. Winds are calm, so we get that dew point and temperature virtually equal. You get that fog formation across the area and improving at least through northern Sussex County, but you can see Ocean City, quarter of a mile down through Wallops along Dorchester County as well. We're holding at 41, Bethany Beach 44 in Georgetown. As I mentioned, winds are pretty calm out there. We had a lot of cloud cover yesterday. That didn't stop temperatures from getting into the upper 60s to lower 70s across Delmarva, but that cloud deck is now shifted off out in the Atlantic. We were spared any rain. That stayed mainly to the south as well. So once that fog burns off here through the morning, we are looking at plenty of sunshine with temperatures right in the lower 70s. But at the coast, we're going to see highs generally in the 50s and 60s near the cooler bay and ocean. We'll talk about near record-setting highs here over the next few days coming up in that full forecast.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this hour is Coast TV's continuing coverage of the recommended charter revocation for the Bryan Allen Stevenson School in Georgetown. There's a public hearing regarding the school, and that's taking place tonight.
Coast TV News reporter Elisa Weber is in our newsroom. And Elisa, since December, the school has been under review by the Delaware Department of Education.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. The state committee says that it found problems with the school's enrollment, finances, as well as how it is managed. The state says that the school needs to show improvement with its enrollment growth, as well as written commitments from families if it hopes to remain open. A Department of Education report released in January found the charter school was 85 students below its projected enrollment. School leaders acknowledged that the school's first year was marked by instability, describing it as chaos, and said those issues were addressed by removing prior leadership. The committee also raised concerns about accounting and financial coding issues. School officials attributed those problems to former administrators. Earlier in March, board members voted to reduce funding for contracted services and increase spending on supplies as a part of the adjustments. School officials also pushed back on a recent state report suggesting the charter school was operating with a deficit, telling board members the school is not in financial trouble. That public hearing will be held this evening at 5 o'clock at Del Tech in Georgetown, and a final decision about the school will be on March 19th. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. And let's level set here and provide some background about Bryan Stevenson. He is a nationally known civil rights attorney. He was born in Milton and is best known for founding the Equal Justice Initiative in Alabama. That's where he spent decades fighting wrongful convictions and excessive sentencing.
And his work is chronicled in the best-selling book Just Mercy, which was later adapted into a major movie featuring Michael B. Jordan.
And one of Stevenson's famous quotes is that each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done, and that you have to be proximate and up close to something to understand it. The Bryan Allen Stevenson School of Excellence says it's those philosophies and more that are the basis of their mission.
New this morning, updated parking rules in Lewis. According to the agenda today, officials are set to discuss a draft that would update a section of the town code focused on off-street parking. The ordinance details regulations for how large a parking space should be, the proper markings, and lighting. City leaders could also discuss an ordinance on home-based businesses. This would be in preparation for a hearing that's set for early April. Lewis officials will gather tonight at 5:30 p.m.
Across Delmarva, the Maryland State Fire Marshal will continue investigating a fire in Queen Anne's County that they say was set intentionally. The State Fire Marshal's office says it happened around 8:30 p.m. on Saturday while people were still in the house. And that home is located on Main Street in Chester, Maryland. 10 people are now displaced due to the fire, with damages estimated at over $100,000. And for more information on this fire, you can head to the article on our website, CoastTV.com.
And faster response times are in the future for people on Long Neck. That's according to the Indian River Volunteer Fire Company. The fire company says it is close to completing a multi-million-dollar construction project set to bring more space for equipment and bunk rooms. Coast TV spoke with members of the Volunteer Fire Company who say the extra space has many perks.
This expansion project for Indian River Fire Company is to convert our existing fire station from a 2-bay facility into a 4-bay multi-purpose facility, which will give us the ability to house larger apparatus, more efficient apparatus to respond to the area.
Miller says that it will be at least another month before their construction is totally finished.
The federal government has awarded $2 million to researchers at the University of Maryland. The funding comes from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This is the current bird flu outbreak, which is the largest in U.S. history, has infected more than 170 million poultry. The poultry industry has largely rejected bird flu vaccines because many countries do not accept vaccinated chickens. Officials say the vaccine being developed would not use a live virus, which differs from an already existing bird flu vaccine.
It is at an early stage of development, so we have a candidate vaccine that we have shown induces good immune responses. So we are quite confident that we will be able to make a successful product. As far as a timescale, I can't speak to that directly.
And the Delmarva Chicken Association tells us it agrees with the National Chicken Council that a bird flu vaccine will not have their stamp of approval unless there are export market protections.
And this is video here from over the weekend at the Dover Air Force Base, where President Donald Trump, First Lady Melania, and Vice President J.D. Vance observing the dignified transfer of, at the time, 6 U.S. service members that have been killed. And unfortunately, that number has grown to 7.
And Iran has a new supreme leader as the war in the Middle East enters its second week, while across the country, Americans are now dealing with higher gas prices.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us how it's a consequence of the war, and the administration insists will be short-term.
This morning, with the U.S. and Israel still trading heavy fire with Iran, the nation is mourning a 7th American service member who U.S. Central Command says died from wounds suffered during an Iranian attack on Saudi Arabia a week ago. Following this weekend's dignified transfer for 6 of the fallen, President Trump acknowledged there may be more.
It's part of war. It's a sad part of war. It's the bad part of war.
The president not ruling out sending U.S. ground troops into Iran.
Possibly for very good reason.
That as Iran named a new supreme leader, according to state-run media, Mojtaba Khamenei, son of the Ayatollah, killed in initial U.S.-Israeli strikes. President Trump had insisted on having a say in Iran's new leadership. The Iranian foreign minister rejecting that and calls for a ceasefire without a permanent end to the war.
Unless we get to that, I think we need to, continue fighting for the sake of our people and our security.
As the escalating conflict disrupts critical oil channels, the cost of oil topping $100 a barrel for the first time in almost 4 years, with a gallon of gas now up nearly 50 cents in a week on average across the U.S. The administration adamant that'll be short term.
In the worst case, this is a week's. This is not a month's thing.
We're now seeing the ripple effects of this war with higher gas prices, with declining job numbers.
The defense secretary rejecting critics' calls for a clear timeline.
You don't tell the enemy, you don't tell the press, you don't tell anybody what your limits would be on an operation. We're willing to go as far as we need to in order to be successful.
In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Happening today back here at home. If you live in Ocean City and your utility provider is Delmarva Power, you may want to listen up. The town says 22nd Street will not have power from around 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. today. And they don't say the reason, but typically planned outages are due to maintenance and improvements.
Also in Ocean City, possible to-go alcoholic beverages. According to the agenda for Tuesday's council meeting, they are looking at Maryland House Bill 1101 and Senate Bill 846. The legislation would create a permit allowing certain businesses in Worcester County to temporarily sell alcoholic drinks to go. This would be during special events. And officials say businesses must already hold a Class C license. They can apply for a per diem license. These bills are still in committee in the General Assembly.
Now we're just getting started here on this hour of CoastTV News today.
Coming up, St. Patrick's Day festivities. We look at some of the events over the weekend and also what you still have to look forward to.
Also, Delaware pothole problem, when DelDOT officials say work to fix the road dangers could begin.
And Grandpa Mac restaurant in Rehoboth Beach is closing. How the owners say the business will continue in a different form. CoastTV News Today continues after the break.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. We kicked off that warming trend this weekend, and that's going to kick into high gear this week as we take a live look into Lewis. We're battling some dense fog across parts of Delmarva. 44 right now, and that fog has been primarily across portions of Dorchester County, southern Sussex, and you can see visibility now down to a quarter of a mile from Wallops Island in through Ocean City. Now, we had cloudy skies. We began the night with cloudy skies, and now the clouds have since cleared out. We're now down to 47 in Bethany, 46 Salisbury, 44 in Easton. So we begin with the fog, and it's going to quickly burn off through the morning, and that's going to help us warm to 72 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Along the bay and ocean, it'll be in the 50s and 60s for our highs. We'll talk about continued warmth and a late week cool down here in a little bit.
Thank you, Chris. Cape Henlopen State Park has reopened 2 trails following a temporary closure due to cleaning up debris and snow from that winter snowstorm we had. It's going to be nice to spend those warm temperatures. Chris is forecasting at the park. Junction Breakwater and Gordon's Pond trails are both now reopened.
Grandpa Mac, that's the popular local restaurant on Coastal Highway in Rehoboth Beach, is closing their doors after a decade. The owners say after announcing the closure, the community showed up in a big way over the last couple of days. And in a Facebook post, Grandpa Mac announced its food truck's new location is at the American Classic Golf Club in Lewis.
Use some caution out there when navigating out to your destination. We're dealing with some pretty dense fog across parts of the area, but a marvelous Monday awaits. We're going to be in the lower 70s, a little cooler though by the beaches. Your full 7-day forecast is up next.
Time is 6:19, and we are giving you a live look at the morning scene at the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewis. And Chris, today warm. Perhaps very warm temperatures later today.
Oh yeah, we're going to warm up really nicely, especially away from the coast once this fog burns off later on today. And you can see that fog pretty dense here in Ocean View here that developed here over the last hour. We're at 44, dew point 43, and winds are calm. When you get that temperature and dew point virtually equal, you get that fog to form across the area, and that's what we're seeing. And we've been tracking it from Cambridge through Salisbury, down through Ocean City, Wallops Island, where visibility is running anywhere between about a quarter a mile or less in those areas. Now, it looks like they canceled the dense fog advisory for Sussex County, but we do still have that fog advisory up for the coastal areas through 6, and then from Dorchester County down through Wicomico, Worcester, all the way down to Accomack County. That runs through 10 o'clock this morning. We're at 47 right now in 45. Millsboro 44 in Laurel. We have clear skies out there, calm winds, and that fog formed as soon as this cloud deck exited the coast. We had that fog form across the area, and we have high pressure building into the region, and we're going to stay sunny, dry, and warm here over the next few days as this big ridge builds in the east. We have high pressure just offshore, and we're going to be near a record highs, especially away from the beaches here, at least for Georgetown and Salisbury. 72 this afternoon, Georgetown 57, Bethany 51, Smith Island 65, Nanacoke, as those winds come out of the south through the afternoon. Tonight, it's mainly clear with another round of fog developing through Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, we warm up even more, mid to upper 40s away from the beaches, and then we'll have a little fog Wednesday morning ahead of more warmth. So we have sunny skies for today, Tuesday, Wednesday, partly cloudy skies, temperatures mid to upper 70s to near 80 away from the coast, and then by Thursday we're looking at a temperature of 62. Thursday is going to be a rather tricky day. It's going to be all about the timing of this cold front that's going to be pushing through the area. We may hit our highs likely in the morning, and then temperatures are going to be falling through the afternoon as rain develops. We could even have a rumble of thunder, and then we do turn much cooler as we go into Friday and the start of the weekend, with highs Friday back in the upper 40s to lower 50s as that cooler air mass rolls into the area. So the next chance of rain will roll in Thursday with that cold front. We do dry out in time for the weekend, seasonable temperatures in through Saturday, and then we bump it up to the upper 60s on Sunday under partly cloudy skies.
Thank you, Chris. And we are now checking in on those road conditions again. This is a view from the First Alert Weather, GB, and you can see our cameraman. He is driving through some low-lying fog, patchiness there. Make sure you're giving yourself extra time to get out on those roads. And when you're out on those roads, you may encounter some more increased potholes on your commutes.
Yeah, as we ramp up for the spring season, we are starting to deal with the remnants of winter on the roads, specifically, as Grace mentioned, those potholes. They're created from the extreme cold and snow, and that means your car can suffer the consequences from a rough road.
Usually you'll feel a shaking either in the seat or in the steering wheel. If it's in the seat, it's generally a rear tire. If it's in the steering wheel, it's generally in a front tire.
The report of condition is a tool that's available on our Del.dot app. It's also on our website. Again, we even have a button you can click for a pothole, and you can tell us exactly where that is.
McLeod says pothole repairs are kicking in this month.
Up next on Coast TV News today, St. Patrick's Day festivities. A look at how Milton celebrated the holiday over the weekend and what's to come. We'll be right back. Leprechauns, music, and streets filled with green. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zapay shows us all the fun from this year's St. Patrick's Day parade in Milton.
The 18th annual St. Patrick's Day parade took place in Milton, bringing custom-made floats, food and drinks, marching bands, and plenty of festive spirit.
I love the marching bands, and the bagpipes are my favorite.
Diane McMahon lives in Milton and never misses the opportunity to watch the parade.
I think it's wonderful. Children are here. It's a family event. It's also for everyone. It's the best town ever.
According to McMahon, she's noticing more and more people taking part in the parade, which is good news for Milton, as the parade raises funds for the fire department and Chamber of Commerce.
It's definitely a moneymaker.
Ben Carlson dressed up for the big day and loves everything about the parade, especially seeing the community come together.
It's the people, mostly, the music, the drinks. St. Patrick's Day is my favorite one. Yeah. Happy St. Patrick's Day!
If you missed this year's St. Patrick's Day parade here in Milton, don't worry, because there's more celebrations happening across Delmarva. I'm Kevin Zapay in Milton, Coast TV News.
And some of those other activities coming up, we're going to start in Ocean City. The annual St. Patrick's Day Parade there begins noon Saturday along Coastal Highway with an Irish Festival at 45th Street starting at 11 a.m. In Dewey Beach, the Starbird celebrates St. Patrick's Day during its opening weekend. That's March 13th through the 16th with live music and events each day.
Well, this Monday morning is treating you well. Here we go. The second full week of March is here, and take a live look into Ocean View. We have that fog there, 44 degrees now. Please note that it is going to be cooler at the beaches. We are tracking a warm up, but highs are only going to be in the low 50s from Ocean City, mid 50s into Fenwick Island as we get closer to that colder ocean. Lewis, we're looking at a high close to 60 this afternoon, and Rehoboth, we're going to looking at mostly sunny skies once the fog burns off, but then another round of fog is expected through the overnight into Tuesday morning. Wall-to-wall sunshine through Cambridge, warmer there with temperatures nearing 70, and Crisfield, we're looking at highs in the lower 60s through the afternoon. Congratulations to Bob Castellana of Georgetown, Delaware on winning an umbrella from CoastTV. We'll talk about even more warmth over the days ahead in that full 7-day forecast in our next half hour.
Thank you, Chris. Planned power outage, what to expect as a pause hits Ocean City.
Also, parking rules update, the details about those regulations officials are set to discuss today.
Plus, school hearing, why the Bryan and Stevenson School of Excellence could have its charter revoked, according to the Department of Education. CoastTV News Today continues after the break.
Now on CoastTV News.
Dover dignified transfer. President Trump at the Air Force Base this weekend to pay his respects to the service members killed in the war with Iran.
Plus, school future scrutiny. How the Bryan Allen Stevenson Charter School will attempt to make their case tonight in Georgetown to continue operations.
It's a Monday and we're tracking fog on Delmarva this morning. We are in for a marvelous start to the week as our spring-like warmth continues. How high will the mercury rise? I'll have the answer ahead.
An OC planned power outage, the area in the town that is scheduled to be out for several hours today.
This is CoastTV News Today.
March 9th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning.
Yeah, a couple of road conditions to tell you about. We got that low-lying fog on our back road. We're under a dense fog advisory for part of our area. Let's check out some of the roads right now. We have our Tyler Ridson out in the first alert weather Jeep, and this is in the area. It's in the Milton, Harbison area. Gravel Hill Road closed between Sand Hill Road and Neptune Road. That is closed due to a crash. DelDOT was reporting that, Grace, sometime after midnight around 1 a.m. this morning that the road is closed. And then if we get Tyler going through this light here, well, you just got to wait for that truck to go through. But there is a blockage of the road that might be to his left, if I recall this location.
It's always sad seeing those chicken trucks. But there is no confirmed cause as to what happened with this crash yet. They are still investigating. It's no word yet whether that was due to the fog advisory that much of our coast is under this morning. But if you are heading out in this Gravel Hill area, just take extra caution and give yourself a few more minutes to get to your destination.
Yeah, I think that was to the left of where Tyler was on that live shot there. Okay, so we're talking about the fog situation. We also know that Wycomico County Schools is operating under a 90-minute delay because of that fog.
Patchy fog, it is staying with us. We experienced it last week and again this morning. And Chris told us today, it's just what happens.
Good morning, Grace and Matt. And yes, we are been tracking that fog throughout the morning as we take a look into Lewis. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 40s now. That fog right now beginning to improve through Sussex County, and you can see we're up to now 3/4 of a mile into Ocean City. We were as low as a quarter, and we're still dealing with some pretty dense fog in and across Cambridge and through portions of Dorchester County across the area. But once the sun rises, that fog is going to burn off pretty quickly. We're at 44 right now in Long Neck, 42 Harrington, 45 Gumboro, 46 in Salisbury. So we have clear skies. The clouds have cleared overnight. Calm winds, and as soon as that cloud deck pushed offshore, that's when we saw that we begin to see that fog develop across the peninsula. Now we have high pressure that's building into the area. Temperatures are going to be cooler at the coast through the day today. Highs generally in the 50s and 60s along the coast and the bay. Inland you go, we're pushing into the lower 70s under mostly sunny skies. Coming up, we'll talk about near record warmth Tuesday and Wednesday. before a cool down late in the week. I'll have that for you coming up in that full 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. In our top story this half hour, a public hearing will be held this evening regarding the Bryan Allen Stevenson School of Excellence in Georgetown.
Yeah, our CoastTV's Elisa Weber is in the newsroom, and since December, the school's been under review by the Delaware Department of Education. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. The state committee says it found problems with finances, enrollment, and how the school is managed. State officials say that the school needs to show improvement in enrollment as well as written commitments from families in order to remain open. A Department of Education report released in January found the charter school was 85 students below its projected enrollment. School leaders acknowledged that the school's first year was marked by instability, describing it as chaos, and said those issues were addressed by removing prior leadership. The committee also raised concerns about accounting and financial coding issues. School officials attributed those problems to former administrators. Earlier in March, board members voted to reduce funding for contracted services and increase spending on supplies as a part of those adjustments. School officials also pushed back on a recent state report suggesting the charter school was operating with a deficit, telling board members the school is not in financial trouble. We spoke with the school's lead educator who said charter schools often take 3 to 5 years to become established, and they're only 2 years old.
Of our commitment to remaining as a small school, our goal is to, once we are fully enrolled, to have only 100 students in each grade, was to continue that, right? We know our families. We know our students' stories. We know what makes them different, and we know how to help support them to be their best selves and to receive the best education that they all deserve. And that is not something you can get at a typical larger public school.
And that public hearing will be held this evening at 5 o'clock at Del Tech in Georgetown, and a final decision is expected to be made on March 19th about the school. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. And if we can level set here and provide some background about Bryan Stevenson, he is a nationally known civil rights attorney who was born right here in Milton. He's best known for founding the Equal Justice Initiative in Alabama, where he spent decades fighting wrongful convictions and excessive sentencing.
His work is chronicled in the best-selling book Just Mercy, which was later adapted into a movie featuring Michael B. Jordan.
And one of Stevenson's famous quotes is that each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done, and that you have to be proximate and up close to something to understand it. The Bryan Allen Stevenson School of Excellence says those philosophies and more that are part of their basis of their mission.
They're looking at updating parking rules in Lewis. Today, the City Council is reviewing a draft ordinance that would update a section of town code that's focused on off-street parking. The ordinance details regulations for how large a parking space should be, the proper markings and lighting. Now, council also could discuss an ordinance on home-based businesses. This is in preparation for a hearing currently set for April 6th. The City Council meeting tonight is at 5:30.
Also happening in Ocean City, possible to-go alcoholic beverages in the city. That's according to the agenda for a Tuesday's Town Council meeting. Maryland House Bill 1101 and Senate Bill 846. That legislation would create a permit to allow certain businesses in Worcester County temporary to sell alcohol drinks to go. That's during special events. Officials say that businesses must already hold a Class C license, and they can apply for a per diem license. These bills are still in the committee.
Happening today, we have a heads up for you. If you live in Ocean City and your utility provider is Delmarva Power, Ocean City says 22nd Street will not have power from around 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. Monday, March 9th. Now, they don't say what the reason is, but typically with these type of planned outages, it's due to maintenance and improvements.
This is video now from over the weekend at the Dover Air Force Base, where President Donald Trump, First Lady Melania, and Vice President J.D. Vance observed the dignified transfer of, at the time, 6 U.S. service members that has been killed, and unfortunately that number has grown to 7.
Yeah, now tensions continue escalating after the announcement of Iran's new supreme leader. According to Iranian officials, the son of the former leader will replace his father.
Reed Binion showing us how top leaders in both the U.S. and Israel are reacting.
Well, I think it is unfortunate. Everyone was waiting to see who would be the next supreme leader. Now we know.
Former CIA Director General David Petraeus weighing in on the implications of Iran's selection of its new supreme leader. Mujtaba Khamenei is the second son of former supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in the U.S. and Israel's opening strikes in the war.
We assume that he will be a continuation of what his father was, which is a very hardline ideological cleric.
President Donald Trump has said he would view Mujtaba Khamenei's elevation to supreme leader as, quote, unacceptable. Amid continuing strikes on Iran, Israel vowed Sunday to target whoever succeeded the late Ayatollah. Iran also continuing its strikes on Israel and other targets in the Middle East. Meanwhile, U.S. officials announced the death of another U.S. service member in the war. U.S. Central Command says the service member died from severe injuries received during Iran's initial attacks across the Middle East. This is the 7th U.S. service member killed in action during Operation Epic Fury. The announcement came just one day after the dignified transfer of the remains of the 6 other troops killed in the first days of the war with Iran. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
New overnight on Sunday, national leaders and local organizers honoring Jesse Jackson's lifelong advocacy for voting rights and social justice. Over the years, Jackson maintained a strong connection to Selma and the legacy of the voting rights movement, frequently returning for Jubilee events and commemorations tied to the historic fight and struggle for equality. His youngest son, Yusef Jackson, who now helps to lead the Rainbow Push Coalition, addressed the crowd, speaking about carrying forward his father's mission and continuing the fight for justice for our future generations.
Jesse Jackson worked to move us from racial battlegrounds to economic common ground and on to moral higher ground. He believed that leveling the economic playing field could generate economic power and create a society where every child could reach their God-given potential. Yes. We have come far, but much work remains.
This took place during Selma's annual Bridge Crossing Jubilee. Maryland Governor Wes Moore participated in some of those activities, including the Martin and Coretta King Unity Breakfast and Edmund Pettus Bridge in remembrance of Bloody Sunday.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Seaford shoreline property, how leaders say the development will benefit those living there.
Also slumping Sixers, Philly has fallen out of the playoff round in the standings. Why tonight's game in Cleveland also presents an extra challenge.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. As we take a live look into Laurel, you see the clear skies, and you can see that fog there on the horizon, very low to the surface. So you hit it, gets very dense, and then it clears out. That's kind of what we've been seeing across the area this morning. We're at 43 in Laurel, and for the most part, the visibility improving through much of Sussex County. Most of the fog we're seeing is across Dorchester County through Wycomico down to Worcester County into Ocean City. Even in Ocean City, we're improving there a little bit. We've been as low as a quarter of a mile. Now the cloud deck is well offshore, skies are clear, and once that sun rises, that fog will be burning off. We're at 45 Georgetown, 46 Salisbury, and 46 in Lewis. So temperatures rising into the lower 70s this afternoon under mostly sunny skies, cooler at the beaches and by the bay with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. You can always call our Coast TV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast. Your full 7-day is up next in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. New this morning, a road closure will impact drivers in Seaford. That's according to the city. This area right here on your screen, Toll Drive between Atlanta Road and Laura Lane, will be closed starting today. Officials say it's set to last until Wednesday, March 11th, and this is for stormwater work that's connected to the Seaford Innovation Center project. The closure is in effect from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. And Seaford is boosting its real estate value, and it comes with a waterfront view. This piece of property along the Nanticoke River will help expand the Oyster House Park, housing the Nanticoke Watershed Alliance's offices. The land was bought by the Alliance and the Chesapeake Conservancy, as well as the city of Seaford. Leaders say that the partnership will benefit all three organizations, as well as the people who are living in Seaford. U.S. lawmakers from Virginia are advocating for protection of the Chincoteague Inlet from further erosion. Congresswoman Jen Kiggins and Senator Tim Kaine recently sent letters urging the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to fund a long-awaited feasibility study on the inlet, and that study must be completed before any intervention can happen. But officials say that the wait is costing Chincoteague precious time and land. The letters sent to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers proposed two timelines, one that would see funds secured for the study in fiscal year 2026, and the other, if that cannot happen, in the president's budget for fiscal year 27.
Tonight in Cleveland, the 76ers will play their 64th game of the season, meaning just 18 games. That's all that remains. And as of now, the Sixers are in the play-in round part of the NBA standings. Philly has lost 6 of their last 10, 3 of their last 4. That's just what's put them in a precarious situation. And to make matters worse, star guard Tyrese Maxey injured his right hand in the Saturday night loss against the Hawks. An X-ray was reported to be inconclusive. We'll see if Maxey's back in the lineup tonight. Now, last night in New Orleans, Trae Young scored 17 points in his second game with Washington. They were down only 2 at the break. Second half, all Pelicans. Washington loses 138-118. And yes, that is an 8-game losing streak for Washington. NASCAR, Phoenix. Ryan Blaney becomes the first driver this season not named Tyler Reddick to win a race. Blaney leads the final 10 laps to claim the 18th victory of his career. Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 7, it is Stellar Fights 72, and then you can catch the final score at 10:30.
And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m. Hope you're having a good day so far here along Delmarva's coast. And if you join us today at 4 on Coast Life, here's what's coming your way. Hope you're hungry because a family-owned restaurant rooted in Italian tradition and serving good food to good people is coming your way with our friends at Liberatore's. All of that and so much more is happening today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
Well, take it easy out there. We're battling some dense fog across some parts of Delmarva, but the warm-up continues. Lower 70s today near record highs Tuesday and Wednesday. How long does it stick around? I'll have the answer after the break.
And we're going to check the road conditions again during this low-lying fog, and not a lot in this area here. We're in Shingle Point Road area of Milton. We have our Tyler Ridson in the first alert weather Jeep. So we've been tracking some of that low-lying fog. You might actually on the right side of your screen see some of that.
Laying over the field over there.
A little bit maybe. But it's spotty, it's hit and miss, but it is something, Grace, that we are dealing with. Well, here we go.
This
on
is
your,
a pretty,
how about your left side of your screen there?
Pretty intense view right now. And this goes to show you this is patchy, kind of hazy, low-lying fog this morning that many drivers are going to be experiencing as they head out on their Monday morning commutes. And the time is now 6:50 a.m. as we're taking a live look out into Laurel. And Chris, I was hoping that we would get a little bit of a sunrise reveal this morning. We haven't had it because of the fog and cloudy, but we can see the fog and we can see a bit of the sunrise in here. So maybe we get the best of both worlds. And your image right there on the right of your screen has a little sunrise behind it. Chris, it's almost like you're the sunny sun on this Monday morning.
Oh, I try to do my best, try to give the best forecast I can. And here you can clearly see how the fog has formed across the area where you get these denser areas of fog and then it clears out, and that's kind of what we're dealing with. We have clear skies out there and they cleared overnight, and we had a foggy end, cloudy end to the weekend, and still even with the warmer temperatures we had yesterday, even with the cloud cover, 43 right now in Laurel. Now the fog we're seeing primarily is across the southern portion of the peninsula where visibilities range anywhere from 1/4 of a mile wallops to 3/4 of a mile across Cambridge. And we still do have a dense marine fog advisory up through 6 o'clock for the Bay and the Delaware coast, and then this fog advisory for Accomack, Worcester, Wicomico, and Dorchester County is up through 10 o'clock this morning. We're holding at 44, Long Neck 45 in Milton. Winds are calm, skies are clear, and then you see the cloud deck pushing offshore overnight. High pressure is going to be building in and settling this big ridge in the east, and that's really going to keep us, cooking in the 70s near 80, especially inland areas. We are going to be cooler at the beaches. So on average in Georgetown, We typically see our first 70-degree temperature around the 13th, so we're a little behind schedule. Our last 70-degree temperature was November the 8th, and we came pretty close to 70 in Georgetown. We did hit 70 in Salisbury yesterday, and we're going to do it again today, lower 70s. You can see at the beaches, we are going to be holding in the 50s, 51 there, Smith Island, with that southerly wind coming in off the colder bay. Now, we'll have another round of fog into our Tuesday morning. By the afternoon, mostly sunny skies. We get up into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, and then a cool down is going to be coming by Thursday. That's in the form of a cold front, so that's going to be our next shot at rain, and could even have a few rumbles of thunder as that frontal boundary passes through the day on your Thursday. Your 7-day forecast shows 78 into Wednesday. That would break a record high in Georgetown of 77, 62 into Thursday with falling temperatures, a cooler Friday with high of 50 degrees.
Thank you, Chris. Time is now 6:53 a.m. Matt Pensick, we are checking in with our coastal pet of the day.
Yeah, it's today's coastal pet of the day. A young pup loves to play. How young, Grace, you ask? 12 weeks old.
Oh, my goodness.
That's Damaris on your screen. Damaris loves to play in the snow and carry sticks around the yard, and Damaris was submitted to us by Allison in Oak Orchard.
As a dog, what more could you want out of life? We were talking in our last hour. We were like, Damaris is so small and he's white. How do you not lose him all that snow that we got?
Maybe it's the sticks he's carrying.
There you go. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. If you want to send us photos, tell us what makes them so special to you. If you take a look at your screen now.
Yeah, there's that QR code at the top. Scan that to get your friends to Coast TV News, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
We've been tracking fog this morning, and as that fog burns off, temperatures are going to be rising very quickly through the afternoon, lower 70s, but again, cooler along the bay and the beaches, so keep that in mind. 50s and 60s there, near record warmth Tuesday and Wednesday as we continue to bask in early spring warmth. Then we have a cold front pushing through Thursday that will bring a round of showers and a rumble of thunder, and then a cool down Friday, 50 degrees. The weekend looking pretty decent, 50s and 60s, before an unwanted cool down there in through St. Patrick's Day there.
Well, at least we can enjoy these 70-degree temperatures while they last.
I do. I plan on doing that.
Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
Today's show coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
And for even more news coverage, you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Monday morning, everybody.